This is the Mohsin Mortgage Program with Sarah Mohsin. Mohsin Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550. And now, here's your host, Sarah Mohsin.
Great to be back here again, folks. It is the weekend edition, Pittsburgh, and have a close family friend of ours, Dr. Carrillo. How are you today, Dr. Carrillo?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'll call you Andreas because you're a very good friend of ours.
Yes.
And we welcome you here because this is actually one of the most important segments, I think, because of what we're looking at for this month. It's mental health awareness, suicide prevention, and you're a professor at Chatham University, the wellness program. And I'm really grateful because I've come, over the years to lecture there with your students. And this last semester, we were there talking about financial literacy. Chatham is a private university, very well known. And you had mentioned a few things about the college itself. Can you share?
Yeah. First off, thanks for having me. I really appreciate being here to talk about this with you during this important month. And yeah, Chatham. So yeah, I teach in the exercise science department, and what is really well known about Chatham is that comes up again and again is Rachel Carson, and she's really just had this lasting impression on the students, the campus, the university itself, and has led to, I would say, had an impact in the school developing the School of Sustainability that's now out in East Side, and that's just really unique and something that's growing, and yeah, I would say that's.
It's a beautiful campus, and folks, every time I go there, I always say, wow, it's such a pretty campus. This year when I was speaking with your first-year students, many who have actually come from different states, Texas and Florida to Pittsburgh. And it's a wonderful campus, a wonderful curriculum, and I have to say one of the key things also out of not only the education side of it is we went to get coffee. This was memorable. So we went to get coffee, and I went to pay for the coffee. You were fighting over the bill. I said, no, I'm going to get the coffee. And so I gave a $5 bill, and the young gentleman there who was taking the money, I said, okay, it's $3, and then the $2 I was just going to give as a gratuity, as a tip.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, no, we don't take tips. We'll just keep it for the next person who needs it. And so to me, that's a very important part of life, paying it forward. You notice that?
Yeah, and actually, I didn't know that was the protocol there in the coffee shop on campus. So that was really nice surprise for me as well to see that. It was.
And I think, the work that you do is really valuable because it is mental health awareness, suicide prevention and this month. And wellness is very important, not only to people who are suffering from depression or health or related issues, but also caregivers, the family members that are supporting, because we often forget the family members who are affected, and they also need the support and help, to talk it out, maybe privately with the help that they need.
Yeah, and that's what I think is so I teach this wellness course at Chatham that you came to visit, and what's interesting is that everyone in the class, there's 35 people in it, 35 students, and they're all dealing with something, like a family member, something themselves and such. So that course is really a great opportunity to just step away from the typical stressors of college, like worrying about outcome-based things like grades and such, and it's really an opportunity for them to focus on their development and caring about themselves, and really having a structure in place for them to do that.
It is. It's really important because at that age, at any age for that matter, how do we deal with the situations that are day to day? So there's this stigma when we are talking about financial wellness as well as mental health issues. And we have over 32 million people who are suffering with mental health issues, and it needs to be discussed and certainly not become a stigma, as you can see, I'm sure.
Yeah, and what we found to be so valuable in this course, and then there's another course where we really focus on personal development as well, is that really putting the responsibility on the student to really just understand what's important to them, having them take the time to really understand. And then you mentioned the day-to-day activities. It's how am I taking action every day that aligns with what's important to me. And so the whole that's a main component of the class, is just bringing that into their awareness and having that be a focus. And so the course, in a way, the idea is not consumption of more information, more so transformation, production, creation, that type of focus.
It is. And I think that the mindset of today, because everything is so busy, like there's this busyness and this social media and this high level of activity that people feel that they are programmed or have to do more, where just being still and creating space. For young people, for all age brackets, it's so very necessary. And I think with what Chatham has provided with this program that you are facilitating there for wellness for these young people, it's very important on how they're going to perform later on in their careers. Yeah,
absolutely. And there's 2 days in the course. It's funny you bring up the social media. There's 2 days in the course where we talk about sugar and social media, and the interesting relationship between those two, and how it interacts with the brain, and how it's associated with symptoms of depression and anxiety and all this. So that's a really important conversation.
It is, and the mental health awareness. This is something that there needs to be more openness about it. There needs to be more education and support, and not only for the people that are suffering from mental health issues, but family members who are supporting others, within that family unit who have to go through that. Yeah. And that's the struggle, because we sometimes miss the person who is the caregiver, who is going through things as well, right? Yeah.
It's easy to. It's easy for people, especially very generous and giving people, to really give all of themselves to what it is that they're dealing with, and what we feel is important, especially within this class, is to really, first off, take care of you and make sure that you've done what you need to do so that you have energy to give to the people that you care about.
Absolutely. And if you're the caregiver or the person who's been the pillar for someone who's going through mental health issues, or even for other types of addictions, what happens is you have to reach a point where you need to do self-care, because what happens is, if you're the pillar and if you're not taking care of yourself, then the whole thing disintegrates. I mean, it's not a healthy situation. It becomes very codependent. One of the key things, and we feel very grateful, just Andres coming in, talking, to the young people at Chatham, and we do that with corporations. We've done it with Highmark and different universities and hospitals, because having financial literacy also allows opportunities for also good mental health, issues being resolved, because of the fact that you can now focus on family and faith and do the things that are important. That's critical.
Absolutely. I think that's a very important aspect of the self-care. And a lot of times, like, I'm involved with a number of different coaching programs and personal development programs. And a lot of what contributes to the stress is the financial difficulties that people are dealing with. And it's almost like developing that financial literacy and taking action in that area of life provides the space needed to have other aspects of life that are really important, that are involved with taking care of others. Just have that take up the space rather than the stress over finances. So that's a huge piece that always comes up.
It does. And the other part of it is, as you mentioned earlier, you're also teaching on nutrition, exercise physiology. There's a science behind how we can actually be in a better, healthier position, because every year people commit to getting into better shape, like they wish to get out of debt. Those are the two things. You notice how people say, I want to get out of debt. I want to be in a better position. I want to get into better shape. And you always may start off with good intentions, but may fall off after the third or fourth week.
Yeah. And actually, you just reminded me, there's another course that we created called the Discovery Program, and this is a course that was created in collaboration with a colleague of mine in Greece at the University of Thessaly. And so we took 20 students this past May to Greece, and it's called the Discovery Program because you are discovering, certain aspects related to science, but the idea is to also continue to discover self. And so there were these interesting personal development conversations we had on a Greek island, and it was really a nice way to isolate each individual and have them focus on that. And one of the conversations we had related to what you just said was how to create habits in your life. And so being really mindful about, first off, being aware of the habits you have, and then having the tools to modify or create habits that are more aligned with what is really important for you.
It is very important, and I think that there is a science, and that's why when we're good friends, you're part of our family, Andreas, and with the work that we're doing together as well, moving forward, the science behind actually mind and body connection and the realities of what we can do very easily to trigger that, within your body easily, quickly, with workshops that you and I have been working together on, and our company Move Core, right? Mm-hmm. We're also working on that side of things, where the education element of, the constant impact of exercise can also be debilitating. There's other ways where you can reprogram and address how your body can work for you versus injuring through consistent exercise, right?
Yeah, so it's funny how the language is evolving within the area of fitness and exercise and such. And so now what I feel is probably more relevant term is movement. And so, of course, related to what the company name, Move Core. So movement is actually, in the wellness class, we sort of use that as a lens through which to look at how to transform. Mm-hmm. And it really, there's so much that aligns with how you move and not only how you move, but also the capabilities that we have for movement that we don't utilize as efficiently as we could. And so the idea is really, strategically becoming more diversified in your movement and life.
Absolutely. And it's much needed. I mean, I've always been very involved in wellness and fitness, and we know that it is much needed. So this is something that, with consistent exercise, I've competed at the pro level, where you're constantly working out and trying to achieve those results. But at some point, when you're really into working out and health and fitness, sometimes we don't want to take that one day off, and that can really seriously injure you over the years, where you can actually, with movement and with the science of breath, you can actually reach goals with that 1 or 2 days off, how to lose weight, being more mindful and present. And so that's something that we've been working on for a while, and certainly something I wanted to share with our listeners here in Pittsburgh. And obviously, I'm grateful, Dr. Carrillo, for having us, at Chatham, mm-hmm. and being able to speak to the wonderful students that are there about financial literacy, because those are the two key elements, wellness and financial literacy, mm-hmm. and mental health issues this month and every single day, obviously, because we want to be in a space where we have that positive energy and we're healthy and we're able to support family and do things for ourselves as well, the self-care part. We have about 10 seconds, so do you want to share anything else? Or
all that comes to mind within 10 seconds is, just living in possibility.
Absolutely.
That's really it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Limitless, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
And with that, folks, stay well. Give us a call, 1-800-662-9550. Thank you so much, Dr. Carrillo.
Thank you.
This has been the Mohsin Mortgage Program with Sarah Mohsin. Mohsin Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550.